everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making a dish called Molotes. So the first thing we're going to do is make our batter. We're going to use 2 cups of all-purpose flour and a teaspoon and a half of baking powder and about a cup of water. So let's measure 2 cups in our measuring cup. Pour that in there. 1 teaspoon and a half of baking powder, and we're going to add about a cup of hot water to this mixture. So I'm just mixing it in with my hands, and now I'm going to add the water just little by little. I mixed a little bit of hot and a little bit of cold water so it's warm, and I actually put 2 cups of water in here, so if we end up using it all, it's going to be 2 cups. So it was about a cup of water. I put too much water, so now I'm just adding a little bit of flour to it. So in here I actually put a whole chicken with half a pot of water. I put on 1 onion and 4 cloves of garlic, some chicken base, 2 spoons of chicken base, and a little bit of salt, a teaspoon of salt. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take the chicken out and we're actually going to take it apart. I'm going to put it here on the plate and we're just going to let it cool off before we can take the chicken off of it. And we're actually going to use this broth during our process. So now we're going to make our sauce, which is going to go in the chicken shortly. What I'm going to do is, like I've used before, I'm going to use the same onion and garlic that I put in the soup. I'm going to put that inside of my blender. And the garlic too. If it's too hot, you can add a little bit of cold water so that your blender doesn't burst. I'm also going to add 4 tomatoes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 2 cloves of garlic. And I'm going to add a little bit of basil. I'm going to add about 2 little bits of about 2 teaspoons. And I'm going to blend this up. I'm actually missing the main ingredient, which is chipotle. So I'm going to put that in. I'm going to put 3 spoons of chipotle. Now we're going to add in 3 spoons of chipotle. These are just the ones from the can. So just put in about 3 spoons. And that's about it. I might need a little bit more broth. I kind of want to see as I go. So right now I have about a cup of broth in there. And I'm going to add just about a teaspoon of salt. Now we're going to blend it. This is a Vitamix blender, but whatever blender you have is perfect. And I'm going to left. So while this is just sitting here, I'm going to start deboning my chicken, and I'm going to cut up 2 onions. We're going to cut up 2 onions in long strips. The thinner you do it, the better. I always take the peel off on the outside. We're going to cut it in long strips. So the part I like to use the most when I use this dish is the chicken breast. It's a little bit hot. If it's too hot, just get 2 forks. And you can do it that way too, so you don't burn your fingers. So I just put this one in, and then just do the same thing here. Put it on a plate. We're gonna just take apart the chicken, and the thinner you do it, the better. It'll take you a little bit of time, but it'll be better. So now I'm just gonna add a little bit of avocado oil, about 3 teaspoons, to my pan. I'm using a deeper pan. And the reason why I'm using oil is because I'm gonna simmer my onions in it for a little bit. So I put 2 onions in here, and I'm going to put them in here. As soon as this is a little bit hot, then I'll add the onions. Okay, now we're going to add our onions. And we want to get them just a little bit brown. We're going to add a little bit of bay leaves, maybe about 4 or 5 afterwards. So I'll put that right here. Okay, so I'm going to add a few bay leaves in here. As you can see, they're getting a little bit brown, so I'm going to add my chicken. Turn it around a little bit, let it cook with the onion before I put my sauce in. I'm going to add just a little bit of coriander, so just a little bit, about this much, and let that just sit inside. If you need a little bit more broth, which I think you do if you want to, just add a little bit more to it. After all, we have it right here. So I'm going to add 2 more spoons to it, and then I'm going to just let the coriander kind of soak in there. You want to make sure your fire is on low while it's simmering. So I'm going to turn it down on low, and meanwhile I'm going to actually get a little bit of flour, and I'm going to sprinkle it on the counter. That's where we're going to roll out our dough. I already wiped it down with the rag, so it's nice and clean. As you can see, it's a little sticky, so I don't want it to be so sticky. So we're going to put it here, and we're going to try to make a little ball. So I have enough flour. I don't want too much in it because I don't want it to be dry. And we're going to start rolling it out. And this is what I'm going to use. 1. I can use the same dough right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll them out one by one, because we don't want them to be too small. So you kind of want as much liquid to evaporate once it's nice and cooked with all the ingredients, because we're actually going to put this chicken into our molotes, so we don't want it to be too juicy. So I put the tinga inside of the bowl, and I'm just going to let it cool off because I want it actually to be a little bit on the cold side before I put them in my dough, so that it doesn't make the dough fall apart. Okay, so we're just going to let this cool off for a bit. So now that it's cooled off a little bit, we're going to put it right in the center. And we're going to lift it up and fold it in half. And I'm going to do like a little twist just on the ends, like that. And we're going to put it in our hot oil. So I did fill this up with oil, so you want it to be able to be immersed in the oil. And then you can be checking on it. So you want them to be like this color on both sides. So guys, we're all done. We're done with our molotes. You could just add some cream on them. I like to put a little bit of lettuce on them too. It's up to you. They're going to be a little bit spicy, so it's up to you how much chipotle you want to put in it. But this is our finished product. Make sure to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Bye.